Hello everyone. Sorry I'm late. I'm a tad late. I've got a lot to set up still. But we are live. We are watching the Newcastle game at Dortmund. And I'm going to have to just do a quick bit of jiggery pokery to make sure this works fine. Hope you're all doing well. It has been quite the day today. Big game for Newcastle this, and after everything that's gone down with Dortmund, oh not with Dortmund, with this Tottenham Chelsea game. Goodness me, the fallout from that has been absolutely crazy. So much has happened, um, but it does look like okay, right, that's fine. It looks like the game started. I'm not actually at the point yet where. Let's see. That's not it, is it? Let's do 800. Keep to that. But yeah, I always knew that it would take a little bit of a time to set this up for this stream, and I didn't think I was actually going to get to start on time. Right, there you go. So we just need to change the crop on this one. Get that right there. And then the bottom as well. Should be fine. So we do that. Should be fine. There you go. Right, and then the lineups. I'm going to have to change that as well. So this is all. Oh yeah. This is all out of time as well, isn't it? At some point, we're going to have two teams playing, and it's going to be. Let's see. Teams. We're going to have a look at the lineups for this game. Let's just have a look at this. Actually, let's. Can we interact with this? Yes, we can. So that's. Oh no, was this the Newcastle team? There you go. That's the Newcastle team, and then the other team we should have that, which we'll then interact with as well. And that looks interesting as well from Dortmund. Is there other players? There is, yeah. But that's a really long bench. It's not particularly helpful. Look at how small the benches in Newcastle compared to Borussia Dortmund. Goodness me. I think that's everything. And then I've got the stats as well, which we need to check. We need to interact with that as well, I think. Oh, that's not even right, is it? Yeah, that's gone well wrong. Let's just quickly check this. Change the filters. That to the right. Oh, the crop's not on, that's why. Okay. There we go. Should be better. And then you should be fine, I think. We close that, then we just try with it again. Oh, not quite. Oh, is that why? Because it's done like that. There you go. That's more like it. Much more like it. Perfect. I've got the wrong. And that's why I've got the wrong thing on. It should be the correct thing. So watch this not work now. Oh no, it is working good. It's just not there. There are the stats, which I actually don't have any space to put that on here, so we can do that. And then there should be place for stats on this one, except it doesn't work because I've got the old one on. Brilliant. Let's just take it that way. First few minutes of this, sorry guys, is just going to be a little bit of me messing about with stuff. I had two different stats things. This is something I need to change very quickly. And then we'll change the filter on this. But we've had 5 minutes already, and it's still 0-0, somewhat predictably, it's got to be said. Let's do that, and then I think if we just interact with it, we should be fine. Oh no. That's not helpful. Okay. Filters. Still in for that. That's the thing. Stats, that's what we're after. Okay. So if I turn the match stats on like that, then scroll down. There you go. We should be there now. Perfect. Right. Absolutely spot on. I don't think there's any more. Any more stats to look at there, is there? No. Good. Fine. Right. So you've got all of those. That should be it. Looks like Dortmund are somewhat dominating possession right now. Not massively surprising given what we saw from Newcastle at the weekend, got to say. They are not the most expansive of teams, Newcastle. So looking at this lineup then, before I... Actually, can I do it while... No, I can't, can I? Never mind. Before we head into actually watching the game, because I still haven't got the game live yet, Pope, Trippier... In fact, you know what? Before I start this properly, let's go and sort this out. New window. We're going to do this one. I'm going to add user there. It's still 0-0. Doesn't look like a great deal has happened. Now, this is obviously on TNT Sports, so I've never actually done this before. And I'm going to try and do it, I think, without a... I'm going to try and do this without any headphones on. And I'll hopefully have a... let's see if I can find a chat. Can I not use a chat here? Okay, well let's just get into watching Newcastle first. So, here we go. Watch live. We should be fine. So it's still 0-0. That's a good start. Has anything happened? Not particularly. Newcastle with a goal kick from the start. What I might do is actually just mute this, and then I can take out my headphones so I can potentially hear any alerts and anything like that does go on. Yesterday I got absolutely freaked out by an alert that happened in the stream, which was not at all helpful. Well, how can I turn this off? Oh, there you go. Right, it's working now, I think. That's not helpful then. Either that. Not interested in that at all. But I'll find the events, haven't I? Where is... Oh, Callum Wilson being a pest. Let's Dortmund play it away. This is really going to be... It's going to be very interesting to see if Dortmund... Oh, they could be in here on the right-hand side. Dan Burn has... Absolutely, yeah, he's got a yellow card. Is that Dan Burn? I actually don't know. I can't tell. But, oh no, it's someone else who I'm not sure who that is. That's a bit concerning for Newcastle if I can't even tell who it is. Where am I? Oh, there it is. Embed chat, that's what I'm looking for. Now, hopefully, yeah, that's fine. Hopefully that's, I think this chat is more or less the same thing. I don't think it has to be from a different thing. I think we're all right. Right, I think we're all set up. That took time. And what was his name now? Let's have a look at the lineups while we're watching this game. Pope, Trippier, Lascelles, Shah, and Hall. So Lewis Hall is the guy who just got booked. Longstaff, Bruno Guimaraes, and Willock in the midfield. Livramento is playing up front. That's what the BBC have got it down as. I really doubt that. They've got him playing on the right wing. Wilson and Joe Linton. I think it's just a very, very defensive team. And Livramento is playing at that's a ball in, and that's flicked over the top by Newcastle player. It's going to be a Dortmund corner. I'll tell you what, it looks like a really, really defensive team, and they're not really very interested in attacking, or at least they want to make a game of this. Kobel, so let's just, we'll give it a second. Kobel, Sula, Hummels, Schlotterbeck, Ryerson, and then Sabitzer, Ozcan behind Adeyemi, Mecha, and Brandt with Füllkrug up front. It's an alright team from Dortmund. It's not amazing. It's never going to be amazing. They did just get thrashed 4-0 by Munich as well. So corner, that's an interesting corner. There's been appeals from both sides for something, looking like not quite sure what, but Newcastle intercept that ball. But Dortmund are somewhat running this game, I think. It's a nice ball. Now, here's another thing as well, actually, it's worth pointing out. As you can say, an offside, I think it might be offside somewhere. Yeah, it's offside there. It's worth pointing out that as a fan of an English team right now, I should actually want Newcastle to do well, because it will actually help the Premier League have 5 spots in the Champions League next season compared to 4. It does make a difference. That's not a handball. They're saying handball, and the replay show it comes off his leg and onto his arm. It's not a Dortmund penalty at all. But yeah, it is actually kind of in everyone's interests in the Premier League for Newcastle, Man United, Arsenal, and City to do well in the Champions League, and also conversely for Brighton and West Ham to do well in the Europa League, as well as who else? And Villa. I think that's everyone. Don't think anyone else is in Europe this season. Liverpool, of course. Liverpool are in the Europa League as well. So they would really want, and it's likely that England will be one of the two countries to get a bonus spot in the Champions League for next season, just purely out of the amount of teams that they have in Europe this season, which is 8, as I've just read out. But they are a really, really, really good team. Sorry, what am I talking about? This Dortmund team are better than the 4-0 against Bayern Munich suggests, but it was quite telling that they weren't. Oh, and here we go. Dortmund could be in here. There's a great chance. Good save. It's a good shot, I think, from the outside of the box. Füllkrug possibly could be a chance to put the ball in the box again. Sabitzer. That's a nice ball. That's wide, though. Looks like Sabitzer. He's got the same hairstyle. Is it Sabitzer? Is he playing for... It is. Sabitzer's playing for Dortmund. Fair enough. Unfortunate Dortmund didn't get drawn in the same group as Man United. Not actually sure if they could have done, to be fair. Here's Brandt, but he's kind of lost out there. And it does look like Newcastle are better equipped to try and play through this Newcastle deep block. They don't look like, if you look at it now, they've got like a 4 with a 5 in front, and Wilson's just kind of hanging around the defence of Dortmund, picking up scraps. But it does look like Newcastle. And then when Dortmund bring the ball back, then Newcastle start committing players forward, and that's how I think this Dortmund team can play through them, because they've got aerial threats. Sabitzer just won the ball in the air from a long ball, which was nice. Adeyemi now, he could potentially cause problems for this Newcastle team. Lewis Hall's got a job. He's got a real job on, been able to deal with this Newcastle attack. That's the Dortmund attack. Oh, we're all over the place today, guys. doing my work and literally just finishing my work as the game finishes, which wasn't really the plan. But these 5:45 kickoffs are not particularly kind. Thankfully, I don't think there's going to be any other ones I'll be able to cover. I don't know why. I think that, well, no, that's a silly thing to say. I know why they've put this game at 5:45 because they know they'll get more people watching it, and it's a kind of game they absolutely could get away with doing that. I don't know why they've headed that out. Newcastle, they keep the ball anyway. So ball in behind for Wilson, but that should be easily dealt with by Dortmund. And at the moment, it's very much a case of Newcastle just sitting back, and what they have, they will hold, and that being a 0-0. I think it's this. If this is the kind of thing that Newcastle are going to be forced into doing in the Champions, that's a great shot from Adeyemi. Well saved from Pope again. I tell you what, Newcastle are doing, also Dortmund are doing a better job. Admittedly, Dortmund are at home, but Dortmund are doing a better job of testing the Newcastle goalkeeper Pope than Arsenal did at the weekend already. We've already played about 15 minutes. It's a fairly straightforward save. He does kind of go more or less straight at him, but when you take shots like that, I think unless you're that could be a foul, that one, Lewis Hall. No, the referee says he got the ball. Don't understand that. But when you take shots like that, it makes the defence a little bit nervous. I think the fact that they're able to make these kind of chances, and we've seen it already for the first. I've only been watching for about 10 minutes now, and already Newcastle have gotten through. Oh, that's a terrible touch. That's an awful touch from Willock. He came on Saturday and did okay. It wasn't particularly spectacular. He was way better against Man United. I really enjoyed watching him play against Man United in the League Cup. He was really, really good. But this Newcastle team, I think it's just overly defensive. They don't have to be quite this defensive. I don't think they are a better team than that. We've seen Almiron playing. I don't know if there's... I mean, is Almiron on the bench? That would probably tell us. He is on the bench, so why does he not play? Why is Gordon on the bench? He should be playing, surely. Why is Livramento playing at right wing? I'm confused as to why that's happening, really. It doesn't make a great deal of sense. I'm hoping as well that we can get another table, I think, as well. That would be quite good. I might actually try and set that up. But probably... Oh, no, we can do it now, actually. Let's see if we can get... So yeah, this is obviously the wrong table. This is the Premier League table. So we're going to see if we can duplicate this scene and call it Champions League table. And then change this table. We're going to get rid of you, actually. And that on there. Of course, I'll probably end up missing a goal here. That's fine. And then we're going to interact. Why is there no table? Oh, it's not even there. Oh, that's annoying. Huh. Well, that's frustrating. What's happening here then? Oh, it's not even... Okay. So apparently if you click off the window, it then pauses the action, which isn't very helpful. Newcastle just looking after the ball a bit here, which, to be honest, I understand. That's fine. In that case, then, we need to look for this table. Do that one. Paste. Interact. Oh, have to do that, don't we? Oh, and of course it's been. I think it's 225. I've got to set that as, but where is it now? Not the right side. PSG, that's the one. Okay. So we'll just put you at the top then. And then we'll do this. Filters. There we go. Too much. This is how we do it. In fact, we're probably going to have to just do that a little bit. That's fine. Those. Oops, not two. There we go. That should be enough. Oh, but of course the interact needs to be done again. It's not helpful, that. There we go. Much better. Of course, Arsenal on top of their group right now as well. There we go. That's much better. Yeah. Oh man, I can't see it now. Oh, that's frustrating. Right, okay, I'm just gonna have to do that then, aren't we? That'll be fine. Ugh, frustrating. Is anything happening here? Has anything happened? No. Yeah, not much has happened. You're not really missing a great deal here. It's probably going to be quite an endurance test, I think, for both of these teams. Arsenal could tell you that's what it's like playing against this Newcastle team right now. There we go. That should be better. Right, so we've got the table there on the top. And that should be pretty straightforward. The ball has spent a bit more time in the Dortmund half though than earlier, which does suggest maybe we're starting to get closer to a more competitive game. But at the moment, like Newcastle, very, very dogged in their defence. But I tell you what, Dortmund could if they. So I've noticed actually, big difference between this and the Arsenal game is the physical challenges in the air. Dortmund are winning quite a lot of them. So when they play the ball up in the air towards their strikers, they've got players like Adeyemi. That's a lovely ball in behind. Unlucky. Adeyemi got in behind there, but he's won a header. I think Brandt's won a header as well. Goodness me, this counter press is doing quite well as well for Newcastle, for Dortmund as well. That's a free kick, really? Okay, I don't know. That's not a free kick. But Newcastle they're struggling here. I think they've been hemmed in. And okay, maybe that was a free kick. Hummels tries to get. He does get the ball, but he goes through Wilson. It's a very difficult. You know what? I could. Oops, not that. Let's put you down here. That's probably better, isn't it? Yeah. I don't even know, to be fair. The Champions League table will do that. That's much better. I like that. We could do that there. Let's do that. that, not like that, and then just like this. Perfect. Willock is trying to get in on that left-hand side. He wins a corner. Or has he won a corner? Or is it a throw-in? Not actually sure. Looks like it's going to be a throw-in. It's the go out play. So this, this Newcastle performance, yes, they'll enjoy it. Yes, I mean, credit to them. Obviously, they're in the Champions League from last season's amazing achievements. But I think, given the position that Newcastle find themselves in, and to be fair, when you look at the table, Dortmund and Newcastle will be level on points. Obviously, Dortmund would have the better head-to-head record. So even though the goal difference goes against Newcastle, Newcastle kind of need to win this game because then they're left with 2 games, one against AC Milan at home and Paris Saint-Germain away. Even if they beat AC Milan, Dortmund also have a game against Milan. So it does kind of leave you in this kind of... Oh, I think Dortmund have scored. What happened? What happened? Quick, so they get the ball in behind. This is the thing when you're going away from it. That's a lovely little flick. Back to him again. Goes back, and that's an easy finish. That's an easy finish. Füllkrug scores for Dortmund. Wow. It's just not. It's not clever play from Newcastle again, and Dortmund have shown their ability to do this all game long. Whether there's the long ball. I mean, in this case, actually, it's a bit fluky. That's a lovely flick, to be fair, from Sabitzer. Really, really nice. He crosses the ball back in, and Füllkrug's completely on his own. But initially, when the ball into the Newcastle's third of the pitch was quite slow. It wasn't that great, and it kind of deflected off a couple of Newcastle players, and then eventually got through to Sabitzer, who did do really well, and then crossed it in for Füllkrug to score. Well, is this it? Is this it for Newcastle and their hopes of qualifying for the Champions League knockout stages? Because now, if you look at the table, Newcastle are they will be on 4 points with a goal difference of +1 only. It's amazing to think this Newcastle team, they're playing against Dortmund, they might end up losing twice. This Newcastle team might, having beaten, they've beaten PSG. I don't even remember what the score was, but Dortmund now are top of the group with 7 points. PSG play Milan later, and Newcastle could potentially be more or less, well, not out, but they could basically go into the game against Milan. I think they're playing Milan next, with a very difficult ask. They have to basically win against Milan, and probably beat PSG as well in order to qualify. What a hard ask! Really difficult ask. They really need a result in this game. It's a nice ball, but I think, is that Hummels? No, it's a bit. I don't even know who that is. It's the other Dortmund defender. Newcastle need a response though, and I think they're paying for their defensive approach in the first half an hour here. I don't think you need to be defensive against this Dortmund team. You don't need to be that defensive. They're not that good. Adeyemi is okay. Sabitzer's okay. Füllkrug's okay, but like it is kind of near enough impossible, I think. I don't think anyone would say that they're the best team in this group. They're nowhere near that. I don't think. I think PSG are, and Newcastle have already beaten them. So why would you go into this game with such a negative approach? I don't get it. And this goal might be the way that they get back into the game and start to dominate. Looking ahead, so Newcastle have PSG away is their next game. Oh, here's a chance. Oh, Wilson. Not Wilson. That was Willock, I think. Now Dortmund could have broken, but the ball wasn't good enough going through. So they have PSG away next. I mean, oh, that's tough. That is so tough. They really need a result. They really need a result in this game, I think, because obviously PSG away and then Milan at home in December. I can't see how this team can. I don't see how this Newcastle team get out of this group. If they lose this game tonight, I think they're out. Pretty much. Obviously, PSG still to play, but if PSG go up to 9 points, that means they've almost qualified, but not quite, because they've still got to play Newcastle. Livramento with the ball in, that's going to go out for a corner for Newcastle. But this, yeah, I think if PSG win, it's PSG with 9 points, Dortmund with 7, Newcastle with 4, Milan with 2. That obviously means that Newcastle are in pole position to get into the Europa League at least, but I think that means now that they probably would have to beat Milan. Oh, sorry, they have to beat PSG. I think because I would bank on this Dortmund team getting at least a point against Milan. If they were to lose against PSG well, actually no, if they were to lose against PSG, I think that's it. Yeah, they have to they basically go into. There's a chance. It's a soft header from the corner. Goes straight to the goalkeeper. Soft header. Deary me. So yeah, looks like Barcelona are playing as well. Barcelona are playing Shakhtar Donetsk, and I think that's 0-0 right now. What are the scores? Yeah, it's 0-0 between. Well, it was 0-0 between Barca and Shakhtar. Yeah, it's at Shakhtar. Well, I'll say at Shakhtar. It won't be at Shakhtar, but it'll be close-ish. Joelinton controls the ball and goes backwards. It's yeah, it's a difficult position that they find themselves in. I think this is why I'm saying they absolutely need to get a point out of this game at least, because it gives them an opportunity to go and beat Milan at home. Maybe get a point away at PSG, which, given how badly they beat PSG at home, they could do it. But I think if they lose against PSG, if they lose this game and lose against PSG, they're out, because the head-to-head record between them and Dortmund is so bad. So we shall see, though. It's a nice ball in this for Newcastle. It's backheeled into Livramento, but that's not going right. I don't see the logic of playing Livramento at right wing compared to Almiron, unless Almiron's just out on his feet and he can't do another shift like he did against Arsenal. He did look quite tired against Arsenal, but that's how he plays. He's played like that ever since I've known him. That's a foul, ref? No? Okay. Brandt was claiming, or not Brandt. Not sure who that was. They were claiming a foul. Didn't get it. There goes Kieran Trippier on the right-hand side. Well, I hope you're enjoying watching this, or at least maybe looking back at this with me. It's fun to see. I'm hoping to go slowly build this team. Build this team. What we're talking about? Build the stream and everything that's kind of built up on it over time. I want to be able to get more stats in and that kind of thing. I'm looking to find. Tonight was not the night for that kind of thing. I'm hoping to spend a bit of time between now and next weekend, or this weekend, being able to play about with the stream a bit, and so we can have a look at a few more detailed stats, because the stats that we're looking at right now are okay, but they're not amazing. In fact, we can have a look at some. We can have a look at some of the stats right now. If you look, yeah, it's pretty unanimously in Dortmund's favour, I'd say. They are, in fact, can we? Oh, I was thinking we could, we can't. That's fine. Dortmund's 55% possession, 4 shots to 1, 3 shots to 1 on target, 2 corners each, and 2 fouls to 1. It doesn't really feel like a contest right now, I think. And Newcastle have got to, they've got to somehow stamp a bit of authority on this game, and I don't know how they do that with players like Willock in midfield. Sounds quite harsh as an ex-Arsenal fan, as an Arsenal fan for an ex-Arsenal player to say that about them. Here's Dortmund, they could potentially be in here. That's a nice ball inside. Füllkrug, oh. Not Füllkrug, sorry, Sabitzer. I can't tell what what the players are. It's a lovely ball inside. Sabitzer's running onto it and just skies it over the bar with his side foot. But it's a really nice. Don't go talking about for all the teams. Of all the teams to be complaining about the ball going out of play, I hardly think Newcastle should be the ones complaining about that, given what we experienced on Saturday. I think the TV is just making the point that the ball looks like it doesn't go out of play for a Dortmund throw-in in the build-up to the corner, which eventually to a corner which wasn't given. Oh, here we go. Jolinton doesn't control it. He's in on goal. I don't even think it's offside either. Oh, what a chance that was. What a chance. Oh, he just completely misses the ball. Completely misses it. I don't think that's Jolinton's position, though. I don't know if people remember, but when Newcastle bought Jolinton, they seemed to think, for some reason, he was a striker. Whereas if you watched him playing, I think it was Hoffenheim. He played for Hoffenheim, and he wasn't a striker. He never played with them as a striker. He played with them as like a midfielder. And lo and behold, what's he done? He's played as a midfielder for Newcastle and done really well. Probably not quite good enough there. Füllkrug. You can advertise the Man City Young Boys game all you want. I don't think anyone's watching that game. I don't know what game. I probably prefer to watch Atletico against Celtic, I think. But I'm not streaming a watch-along for that, because it's that's a little bit too much in one night. I definitely want to chill. I'm not actually had my tea yet, so. Speaking of which, I'll probably need to go and cook it at some point. So I'm going to go and do that when half-time happens. It's obviously difficult. I think it's a difficult ask now for this Newcastle team. They've got a nice ball in behind here. Adeyemi's been really, really good as well. That's a nice ball in behind. Nothing's there now. That's going to be easy for Pope. Easy for Pope. What I do think, though, is oh dear, what a terrible challenge that is. Terrible, terrible challenge from the Newcastle player there. I think it might have been it was Gomes. What a surprise. He's public enemy number 1 in my book. I don't really have a massive issue with any of the Newcastle players that much, apart from Gomes. He's like, I don't know how you can run around a football pitch and just randomly elbow people in the back and feel like that's okay. That's just not reasonable. Like, that's the kind of thing that you'd have seen in football in the 50s and the 60s. And you get away with it because there's only one set of eyes, or maybe 3 sets of eyes on the pitch who are actually looking out for that kind of thing. And yes, you might appeal for foul play in that as the opponents, but unless the referee's seen it, they can't give it. Whereas now, you've got cameras, VAR and everything that picks these up. Somehow Gomes wasn't sent off in that game. And that's it's going to be handball Livramento. Well, it should be. And then Gomes gets clattered by Sabitzer. Shakhtar have scored against Barca. Flipping Nora. What a start for Shakhtar. 40 minutes gone. They've only got 5 minutes left in that first half. Imagine if they get a result against Barca. I don't think it makes a massive difference. That's a nice ball over the top from Jolinton, but that's cleared by Dortmund. if they get a result against that, I mean, let's just check what that would do to the table. Because I don't think. Let's see. No, not that one. Where is it? Barcelona would be on 9 points. Shakhtar would be on 6. Porto on 6 as well, and Antwerp on 0. So that would leave Shakhtar. That would give Shakhtar a massive lifeline. Given that Porto have got Royal Antwerp to play, they'll probably go up to 9 points. But it means that Shakhtar, obviously, if Shakhtar were to lose to Barca, and then Porto were to win against Royal Antwerp, it would mean both Barca and Porto would be on 9 points. Sorry, Barca would be on 12, Porto on 9, Shakhtar on 3. So Shakhtar would be almost out. Newcastle with a free kick. They try a clever routine, but that's gone out of play for a goal kick. Yeah, so I'm in this strange position of not really being too bothered about not really being that bothered about the result. If Newcastle win, I want one part of me wants them to win, but another part of me is like, screw them because of what happened at the weekend. And if they end up suffering tonight, I really don't care. But that is kind of how it is with rivalries. That's not a foul. Dortmund keep the ball. They're in the attacking third here. And they've just about kept it. That's well played. 5 minutes left here. I do wonder how Newcastle are going to get back into this. They probably just need a moment, get it back to 1-1, and then another moment to get it back to 2-1 to win the game. So I'm not absolutely sure that a draw is enough, because it means that the head-to-head is against them, and because of the way that the Champions League's rules work, if you don't get the head-to-head for you, it's that close. Or no, Newcastle give it away. But it looks like Dortmund are trying to play this out here. Adeyemi. Oh, that's a lovely ball into Brandt. Adeyemi tries to run onto it, but Newcastle get it clear. Livramento trying to run away. He does get away from a few of them, and he gets a foul. That's good play. But again, I think there's, as much as Livramento's doing a job for Newcastle at right wing, I do not understand this choice. I've never seen him play at right wing before. I don't think it was Southampton he was at before. He's never played at right wing, as far as I know. So why play him at right wing now? Unless you're looking for that defensive cover, that's fine. But we're so far gone now. I think this. I'm not convinced personally. But there you go. Let's have a quick look. This I want to see. I'm just bringing up my stream on YouTube just to see what's happening. Hopefully it won't be. Yeah, it is muted. That's a relief. I don't want to see the chat on there. I've already got the chat somewhere else. Okay, cool. That's not helpful. Nice ball in, but again, too bad. Should we pop out chat? I probably should have pop out chat on here, shouldn't I? Yeah. Okay, maybe not then. Never mind. I can't really see a lot in here. Right. Okay. Good ball in. Never mind. Not too bad. Let's find Twitch now. All right.
Carnage, it's going
Whoa. The problem with Twitch, you just open it. It's like we just get a ton of stuff. Newcastle corner. Chipped into the far post. Oh, goodness me. Joe Linton. That's an easy save. Easy save. Yeah, I can't really see this very well with the way that it's. Newcastle get the ball in the midfield. Another foul. But again, I think Dortmund are playing this well, to be fair. They're playing this very well. And getting lots of niggly fouls, but not bad enough to get yellow cards and that kind of thing to stop the counters, stop the transitions, as you might call it if you're a football pundit or whatever. Newcastle with a deep free kick. Trippier's gonna launch this into the box and do a little quick fake and then puts it in. That's easily headed away by Dortmund, and Brandt could potentially counter here. He's only really got Eddie Aim. There's a few players if he decides to try and get in the way. That's gone straight to a Dortmund player in front of the penalty area. It's a ball in. It's cleared out, and that should be half time, I think. Referee has blown for half time. That was a really scary moment for Newcastle. If Newcastle go 2-0 down here, I think that's game over. They don't look like they've got enough of a threat to get one goal, let alone two. But it is half time. I'm just going to go quickly and put on my got a pizza which I'm going to be eating. So I'm going to go and put that on, and then I'm going to come back and talk a little bit about the game so far. Okay. Right. So, hello everyone. I'm back. I've just read some news, which is interesting. Because I don't read very. I'm joking. I do read often. The news I've heard is that. Whoa! Didn't need to do that. Oh, it's an ad. They unmute the video for the ads. Or did I just? I don't know. Right. Okay. Well, anyway, I've read some news, which is interesting. Because the FA have written back to Arsenal in response to their complaints about VAR and refereeing. Now, it looks like it hasn't necessarily made the BBC Sport page, which I'm surprised about. Arteta came back, he did a press conference today and kind of doubled down on a lot of what he said, which is fair enough. He's well within his rights to do that. Doesn't look like. No. Yeah, no, nothing's happened there. Interesting. So if I just search, I suppose if I just search Arteta, I'll find it. But FA have written to Arteta. Oh, they have. Okay, they haven't written it. They're going to write it. Okay, interesting. Football. This is from Talksport. Football Association is planning to send Mikel Arteta a letter after his astonishing outburst about Newcastle's goal against Arsenal on Saturday. We know what happened. Let's tell us. And Arteta for their observations and comments made, according to the Times. I asked them to decide whether or not it's fallen foul of the rules. Okay, so right, so this is probably why. I think this is why Arsenal haven't faced any repercussions for Mikel Arteta's outburst. That's probably why that's happened, because normally when a manager comes out and just the referee's terrible, he's this, he's that, he's awful. He made this decision. I didn't agree with it. This definitely wasn't a red card. It wasn't a penalty, whatever. Usually, pretty soon afterwards, the FA will ask for kind of detailed information from the club and the manager about what they said, and then they'll decide what the next course of action is. Usually it's a fine, sometimes it's a touchline ban if it comes down under abuse of referees. In this case, I don't think it's abuse of referees, because I don't think Arteta actually said anything in the in the match as it was happening. It's more the comments that he made. Does he bring the game into disrepute? You could argue that he does. Do I care as an Arsenal fan? No, I agree with every word he said. I think it's ridiculous, some of the decisions that have been made this season, and it's just incompetence, I think, more than anything else. It was like, firstly, they go back to address a few other decisions that have gone against Arsenal this and last season, and especially the Brentford one sticks out as just an awful decision, where they deny an Arsenal goal. I can't remember whether it was an Arsenal goal or a Brentford goal, but they drew the lines wrong, and they even admitted that afterwards. It's like, if you're drawing lines, if you're having to do that kind of thing, I was saying it during the match yesterday, you need to get automatic offsides or semi-automatic offsides into the game as soon as possible, because I think that solves so many problems. You bring a lot of pressure off those referees who have seconds to draw lines and try and get that in time. I just don't think it's possible for them to do that consistently with all the different situations that happen in a game. And then the game on Saturday, if your complaint about the ball exists, which, I mean, Arteta, I think he thinks that on all three counts, the goal should have been chalked off. Goal, offside, and foul. But I think the foul is obviously that's a subjective one. You can't really do a lot about that with more cameras. You can't really do a lot about that. I think that's, to be fair, it's just up to, I think, interpretation as to whether you think that's a foul or not. I think it's a foul because he deliberately pushes not just his back, but he pushes his head down so Gabriel can't reach the ball with his head as he's going up. That's clearly like stopping, interfering with play. And if someone else were to grab someone's head and throw it down in the penalty area, they would give away a free kick or a penalty. It would happen. So I don't know why that wasn't given. But then look at the ball going out of play. Given the amount of money involved in football right now, what's stopping in all 20 Premier League grounds? What's stopping them from installing cameras, or at least camera positions, for match days, where they can place the camera directly in line with the goal line, which is usually one of the most contentious places in football. I don't think you get as many goals which are challenged because the ball's gone out for a throw-in. You get a lot more balls that are challenged because the ball's gone out for a goal kick or a corner. And in this case, it would have been a goal kick, I think, if the ball had been called to go out. So what they need is a dedicated camera on either side of the goal, on both sides of the pitch, to say this is definitely in or it's definitely out. Now, whether you could extend that to something akin to goal line technology like Hawkeye, I don't know. I think that's quite difficult to do. I don't know if you remember, but there was a Sheffield United game. I can't remember who they were playing. Someone like West Ham or someone like that. And they were playing, and I think Sheffield United scored, or thought they'd scored. They clearly thought the ball had gone over the line. But the goal line technology didn't trigger because there was a really freak circumstance where the ball had gone past the line, but the sensors were surrounded by players and the goalpost on the other side. So there was a player on one side and the goalpost on the other, and then the sensors couldn't pick up where the ball was. So when the ball got cleared, the camera obviously couldn't tell if it was in or out, and the sensors couldn't either, so they couldn't give the goal. And that obviously is such a freak. And I think if you were Sheffield United that day, you'd have been absolutely gutted. But that's a freak, and I don't think that happens. We haven't seen it since. So yeah, is it going to be something that you're that bothered about in the long term? I don't think you can really do much about that, really, unless you just want to install more sensors. I don't know if they've changed anything since. But with that, the goal kick thing, I think it's very, very unlikely you're going to get. It's even more unlikely because there's no post in the way or anything like that. Surely you've got to install some kind of sensor to say, yes, it's in, no, it's not. And the Premier League has enough money to do this. They bring in loads of money from TV revenue. Yes, a lot of that goes to clubs, but surely you've got to invest in your stadiums, make it better. You get a lot of automated stuff in things like cricket, baseball, hockey, rugby. Rugby, yeah. I'm not absolutely sure, actually. Someone who actually watches rugby probably needs to tell me that. Tennis, obviously, is the obvious one. They've brought in Hawkeye, and that's been amazing for them. I think they need to do something about that because it's something they can do something about. Offsides, automated. Make it automated, make it clear. Because then if that goes wrong, fine, you can always blame the technology at that point. But I don't think we've seen in the Champions League yet a scenario where the offside has taken a long time and it's been wrong. There's never been a situation where it's been wrong when they've used semi-automated offsides. They will, I think if the Premier League bring it in, it might take a bit of, what's the word I'm looking for? Humility on the part of the referees to allow it. Oh, there's my pizza. There you go. It'll take a bit of humility on the point of the referees to allow it. But I don't think, and that's probably why I don't think they will do it. But if they do it, it'll be a huge step forward for the game. And I think it'll solve a lot of problems like what we had on Saturday. As far as the goal line technology or the kind of the football pitch perimeter, sensors, as I would call them. The pitch perimeter sensors would be I think that would be an expensive investment, but I think it'd be worth it in the long run. But I don't even think you need to necessarily do, if you want to go the whole hog and make it Hawkeye, where they can judge the perimeter, including the throwing the sides of the pitch as well as the top and bottom of the pitch. Fine, but I think at the very least you can install cameras which will enable the Hawkeye system to work across the whole goal line, not just between the posts. That needs to happen. I've not seen anyone make an argument against that yet. So, if anything, I think the reason why it's not happened yet is because people aren't aware that it can happen, almost. They're thinking, oh no, it's too big, we can't do that. I think you can. With enough cameras, Premier League has enough money, do it. Do it. Right, I'm going to go and get this pizza. And for some reason my stream is not working very well. So I'm going to restart it. Yeah, and predictably the game... Whoa, that's not what I wanted to do. Sorry. Okay, so as you might have heard there, Callum Wilson's coming off. Almiron and Gordon. See what I was saying earlier? Why do they not start these players? We'll be back in a minute. Right. I have the pizza. Newcastle almost get in straight away there. Look at that. So close. Right. Well, hopefully. Oh, here's Adeyemi. There's a chance. Is he going to come inside? No, he's still going to take a shot, but it's deflected straight at the goalkeeper. Well, that's a promising start. I think we might be in for a more entertaining game now than we had in the first half, if I'm honest. We'll leave the stats on. Let's leave the stats on for now. There's been bottles thrown on the pitch. I'm not sure what that is. Cardboard? Paper? What is this? I do not understand what they've done there. Is this a protest? It might be a protest, you know. Not absolutely sure. But hey ho. Yeah, they're just throwing like, there's a tennis ball, there's like lots, are they like gold bars? They're throwing lots of tennis balls onto the pitch as well. It's like all over the Newcastle half of the pitch as well. Well, it's like the quarter of it. Weird. Really strange. Here's Joe Linton playing it into Gordon. This is much more the kind of assertive play that I was expecting from Newcastle in this game, given obviously the context of this is Newcastle lost at home to Dortmund. And yes, Dortmund probably, here's the chance, there's ball in behind, great save. And cleared in the end, and Adeyemi is going to try and run away with it, but Newcastle keep it. This is a lot more assertive from Newcastle. It's exactly what they needed to do. But given the context of where we were before the start of this game, Dortmund had won at Newcastle, and yes, Newcastle had dominated and they'd played really well, but they lost. It means they've got to come and win this game. They don't have a choice. I don't know why they thought it was a good idea to try and play essentially 4-5-1. I know they would have argued it's actually 4-3-3. That's a shot, but wide from Almiron. Oh dear. That's gone off. Don't really have anywhere to keep those. Put it there, I think. Yeah, tennis balls. The gold-looking cardboard boxes are interesting because I wonder why. I do wonder why they've done that. Livramento. It looks like Livramento might have gone back to fullback as well, which is the right play. But Callum Wilson going off must be a bit annoying. Here's the chance for Dortmund. They're in on the... Oh, what a terrible touch. He's still got it somehow, Brandt. That's a nice shot. Good save from Pope. It's a bit messy, that, from Newcastle defending. It was a nice shot from Brandt, but a little bit too close to Pope there. He definitely got that clear. But yeah, Brandt tried to do a little shimmy and just kind of gave the ball away. But Brandt on one side and Adeyemi on the other. Pretty good. Got to say, they look pretty good. They're just not Bundesliga winning good, I don't think. They're nowhere near that. Bayern look immense. Oh, that's a. I don't know what's happened there. Adeyemi with a scuffed shots. Oh, goodness me. That kind of flew about the penalty area in all sorts of different directions there, and eventually it's gone out for a Newcastle goal kick. I don't know how, because it probably should be 2-0, but there you go. It is still 1-0, somewhat surprisingly. Joe Linton, ball into, is that Willock? Willock just gets bodied. Adeyemi, yeah, he does the arms. Come on. Oh, man. I think, actually, here's an interesting point. Joe Willock left Arsenal a few years ago for Newcastle. At the time, here's Dortmund are in on the right here. Is it Sula, I think? That's nice. It might be offside. Definitely looked offside. Those looks like ticker tape, actually. Looks blooming confusing. There was a time when Willock obviously was at Arsenal. We weren't in the Champions League. Now, Arsenal are in the Champions League, but Willock also made the Champions League at the same time, which is kind of crazy, really. So, whether he'd have stayed at Arsenal or not, he would have played Champions League football this season. So, yeah, I was not happy. So I love to see. Of course, if Milan were to beat PSG tonight, which I don't think will happen, I do wonder what that would do to the table. Have a quick check. Have they put the tables on the live page yet? No. Of course not. In fact, let's go back and we'll just do it this way. Yeah, PSG were to lose to Milan, then PSG would be on 6, Milan on 5, Newcastle would be bottom of the group, and Dortmund on 7. Well, that's a ball through. Well played that. Almiron gets the ball in, but well blocked again by Dortmund, and they could be in again here. Oh, that's not the best control from Brandt. It looks like a cross between like Jack Grealish and Madison. Just in looks, not really not in play style, but definitely in looks. Offside. Must see if maybe a chair playing again. Pretty sure he's been out with injury, so I think he might be Newcastle's best defender. Despite the fact that Lascelles has played quite well, I think they needed a player like Shai. He was central to quite a lot of what Newcastle did well last season. So Livramento, overlap or underlapping. Anthony Gordon. Newcastle just keeping it inside the Dortmund third right now. That's a lovely ball in. Oh my days, how hasn't he scored? Joe Linton had a brilliant chance. Just a free header from about 7 yards out. Ball in from Livramento is amazing. And it's not 7, it's 6 yards, 5 yards out. It is a sitter from Joe Linton. He gets clean contact on it. And if he just hits it a bit firmer, a bit more towards goal, he scores. He heads it and it just goes just wide. That is such an escape for this Dortmund team. It does look like Newcastle have woken up here. Here's Almiron. That's not a good shot. That's gone well over. I do wonder who else Dortmund have got on their bench, actually. I'm going to have a quick look at that. Oh, Adeyemi doesn't quite get there. On their bench, they've got Ben Sabiani, Baini. You played quite well, actually. What did he play? I can't remember, actually. I thought he played against Newcastle in the return game. Nice ball into Adeyemi. He's away from the defender. He's got backup if he needs it. He's just lost it there. So Guimaraes. But that was a terrible ball. They've got it just outside the D of the penalty area now of Dortmund. And back into Brandt. That's lovely. Brandt takes the shot on. It's tipped wide by Pope. Very close to losing a second there. Lovely play from Brandt. Plays the 1-2. Lots of Lots of space. Don't think it's going in. It's definitely going wide. But it's a good save regardless. So on the bench, Dortmund have got Ben Sabini. Oh, it's not a goal. They've given a goal kick. You kidding me? Oh, wait. There's something happened at the corner. I think something happened at the corner. Yeah. I'll tell you who else Brand looks like. He looks like Rob Holding. There's a chance. Another shot. Well saved from Metcha. Rainer, Haller, Royce, Wolf, Moorcoco, Marlon, Mayer, Lotka, Bank, Banner Gittens. It's a pretty good bench. Apart from those last three, I pretty much knew the rest of them. So that kind of says a lot. Don't think Marlon's done particularly well at Dortmund yet. He's got a lot of potential, but hasn't quite lived up to it. Here's Jolinton on the left side of midfield. Gordon inside left channel, but cleared by Brandt. And they get free kick to Dortmund. Newcastle fans are enjoying this. Last taste of Europe they'll be getting for this season, possibly. A lot of it will come down to what happens. What happens later tonight? Got to say as well, the Milan PSG game is pretty big. I might decide to watch that. Actually, we'll see. Is that a foul on Fulkrug? Has he lost a tooth? He's missing a tooth. Oh dear. Lascelles apparently elbowed his head, which I honestly would not be surprised. I didn't actually see that, to be fair, but I think this Dortmund team is they should be winning this game now. I think they're in such more or less control of it. I think. The ball in behind from Brandt, but no foul. Dortmund still have the ball. Another ball in. That's a long one. Sabitzer, knock on. Tries the volley. Why he doesn't play it back to Adeyemi there, I don't know. That's a nice ball in behind. Adeyemi's got it. Oh, it's well tackled again. Guimaraes this time. I don't know how Longstaff doesn't see that pass coming as well. It's pretty clear what he's doing when he gets in behind there, but Longstaff doesn't cut it out. And it takes Guimaraes to come back and chase it in. Longstaff is kind of one of those players that you think, well, when Newcastle extends their spending, they probably won't be using him. He'll eventually get sidelined. Willock on the break, but they can't do anything with it. Now they spread it to the other side with Livramento. They've been better, I think. More of a threat from right back than he has been at right midfield. And I think that just comes down to the fact that he's more used to playing in that position. To be fair, I don't think it's a massive deal. That's a shot. That's well saved. Oh, the skill from Coble there. Getting past Anthony Gordon, who was chasing him down. Very well played. Very, very well played. That's the kind of thing, that's the confidence you need from your goalkeeper. I don't know what he's doing there. Did he just shoot? I think he did. And he got it completely wrong. It's game is a bit of a standstill. Well, here's Adeyemi though. He's been taken out there by Joe Linton, surely. Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. So there are some tackles here that I'm seeing from Newcastle that I think they get away with in the Premier League. But here, they won't get away with it. The play is too technical. The standard of refereeing is way better. And I think they're playing away from home, but I just don't think that kind of foul gets blown up in the Premier League. I think they just play on. And because it doesn't look like that much, but because he goes down and there is a bit of contact, it's enough to get a free kick. Brandt's going to take it. That's a nice ball in. Oh, just flicks. One player goes for it, misses. Another one goes for it, misses. And it bounces off the floor and then flicks off of Hummels straight into the goalkeeper's hands. We still got it there. Sula, that was nice. I keep saying Sula. I'm not absolutely convinced that he's actually playing. Schlotterbeck. Oh no, Sula is playing. Playing right back, which is interesting. I've never thought of Sula as a kind of progressive player like that at all. I've always thought of him as a centre back, but with a little bit of pace. Well, I say no, that's not true. It's weird because I've played with him on FIFA before, and he's had like high sprint speed but ridiculously slow acceleration. So he's got pace, but it takes him a really long time to use it. But playing at right back is interesting. Oh, nice one-touch play from Dortmund there, but they just lose it in the end. 25 minutes left. Potentially for Newcastle to save their Champions League season. I'll tell you what the interesting thing is for next season. So I think there will be a scenario next year. Oh, goodness me, what are they doing? Newcastle almost gave away a sloppy goal. Goalie's just so hesitant. Lascelles has to clear it. Next season, because every team will have 8 games to play, and they won't be in the same group. Well, everyone's in the same group. Everyone's in one league, and there's like 36 teams or something. That means that you could potentially get to like game week 6, and the games aren't dead, and you might still be able to qualify with 2 wins. I don't actually know. I want to at some point be able to kind of simulate a league like that over a few times just to see what the average amount of points you'd need to qualify would be. I would imagine it would be something like 12 to definitely qualify. So you might be out by the time you hit game week 6 or 7. But you've got to remember that the qualifying positions, I think they only knock out, is it 36 teams in total? So they'll only knock out 10 teams. You only knock out 10 teams from that first thing, and no, that's not true. 20 teams. You knock out 20 teams, so it is more than half of the teams that go out. No, that's not true. What are you talking about, Mike? There's 24 teams that go through. 8 go through to the last 16, and then the next 16 go through to a separate playoff round. Oh, is that handball? Are they checking that? It comes off of it. Well, the thing is, it comes off of the Dortmund player's leg first. So I think, yeah, it's fine. They're not giving a penalty for that. I think that would have been incredibly harsh. There we go. Dortmund are flying through here. Not a good ball, though. Joe Linton has looked quite... Ever since he's played on the left-hand side of the midfield, I don't think he's really looked good enough. Adeyemi's roasting him on the outside. Well played, Livramento. Well played. Yeah. So next season's Champions League, you'll get... Figure out the maths here. So 24 teams out of 36 will still be involved in the Champions League, and then the last 12, the bottom 12 will go out, which does mean you could end up, I think, in a situation where you could end up with maybe 9 points, maybe even less, is enough to get you through to the last 24. Which isn't too bad. And it does mean that a situation like this... Hey, Jollyfish, welcome to the stream, man. A situation like this, where Newcastle are basically almost like... They're basically one defeat away from going out, is unlikely to happen next season, I think. Very unlikely. The setup is also pizza. Sorry for eating on stream. That's a ball in. Well played. Dortmund had a shot, kind of a shot, more of a deflection than anything else. At least that's nice to see that the YouTube chat does work. So I've not actually had a chance. It was always going to be quite a slow build, quite a slow burn. But I get the feeling that the more I do this, and the more things I add to the stream over time, it's going to get more and more popular. So what flavour? It is Meat Feast from Morrison's, which I've never had a Morrison's Meat Feast before. It's quite nice. It's quite spicy. The spicy beef is very spicy. But I like that. This was a very last minute choice because I literally finished my work at pretty much bang on when this game started, which was 5:45. What's going on here? Referee's running over to the goalkeeper. Oh no, don't tell me Pope's got a problem. Oh dear. That would not be good, given I think Newcastle... it is. Meat Feast is the best. Given that Newcastle have had a bad injury, every game, pretty much since the start of the season, they've lost a player, and Eddie Howe's been saying it feels like he's been losing at least one player every game. They don't want to lose Pope because I don't think their backup's not too bad actually, because I think it's Dubravka who's pretty good. I like the spicy one. I think my favourite pizza, if I'm up for it, and I probably have to have not eaten that much during the day, but the meat feast the barbecue meat feast from Papa John's is probably my favourite pizza, I think. It's so nice. Ridiculously sweet. No, that's not true. It's sweet and savoury, but it's full of calories, which is the only problem with that. At the moment, I'm walking to and from work, so it actually helps. I'm doing I've got a lot of exercise. I definitely feel a little bit fitter doing that, which is really good. Oh yeah, Papa John's definitely. It's just a bit expensive for some people. I think it's well worth it, and you also get like free. I can essentially go, what is he doing there? Livramento. Has Livramento just given away a free kick, even though Newcastle had the ball clearly? He has, you know. What a stupid, stupid challenge. Oh no, he hasn't. Okay, I was gonna say. I was like, it looked like the referee was. Oh goodness me. There you go. It was like total attempts 14 and 7, 14, 7 on target for Dortmund, 7 and 4 on target for Newcastle. It has been. I think Newcastle are coming to this with completely the wrong approach. They needed to attack this game from the start because they had to win. They've gone 1-0 down, and from the start of the game, they've not been attacking enough, and they've not really been attacking enough ever since. That's a lovely fake. Oh, brilliant play. Fantastic. Brandt's going to try and slow it down here because he knows there's not really a lot of space and support. But yeah, so if you're wondering, Jellyfish, what I'm going to be doing, this is essentially it's all about the football, and if you like watching me talk about football, I did a little bit of that on a different channel. And I don't know if I'm necessarily going to keep this on the RoboNai channel or if I'm just going to start a new channel and just run with that. The only reason I'm keeping with the RoboNai is I've got a Twitch channel at the moment which I'm restreaming on as well, and that's got a lot more viewers and I've already got affiliate on that. So I think it's going to be. Oh, here's Dortmund are through here. Oh, if Brandt gets that pass right, he's in. Or Krug would have scored probably. That's nice. Yeah, the video blog. Yeah, but I'm not as interested in putting my full name on this, really. So, yeah, especially given what I do for a living, it's not. I don't think it really makes a great deal of sense. And a lot of what I did back then is a ball in for Newcastle, overhead kick, but that's cleared. What I do for a living now, I only really started in February, and that was after I did that video blog from the World Cup. So that idea I don't think is going to make sense. But to make it just a alias makes a lot more sense for me. I think people can't search up who I am. They can do that for some of my work, but not with this. Don't want that to happen because this is just casual watching football. Pretty straightforward. But yeah, so my next watch along won't be until Saturday, but it will be a good one because it'll be Tottenham away to Wolves. After Tottenham's game last night, which I did a watch along for, and if you haven't seen it yet, I definitely recommend you go watch it. Oh, that shot from was it a cross? I'm not sure, but Brandt was in on the left hand side there, and he just clips it across, goes on the outside of Trippier, clips it across. It might have come off Trippier's foot, but it wasn't really a cross or a shot. It was kind of between both of them. Newcastle get the ball back in the end. And Adeyemi, that's tackle from Joe Linton. He's got to be careful. Oh no, there's going to be advantage, but I think he might be getting a book for that. Possibly. Joe Linton's not been good tonight. I think there's been a lot of below par performances from Newcastle tonight, but I think Joe Linton is right down there with one of the worst, just because he's been asked to do a creative role in a team which he's not really had, I don't think, the opportunity to. He's been forced to defend quite a lot. That's nice from Sula, but Adeyemi's pass doesn't quite get through. The Spurs game, obviously, is a big one. I'm considering whether... the thing is, I can't do... In England, right, there's this weird rule, which I'm surprised still exists, that you can't watch... a live game cannot be broadcast. That's a nice tackle. And that's not a nice tackle from Adeyemi. He fouls Armour on the left there. They've got a free kick just off the corner flag. What they need what was I saying? Yeah, so there's this rule where basically they can't broadcast live football between the hours of 2:45 and 5:15 on a Saturday afternoon, which means Arsenal are playing during those hours, and they can't. I can't watch them, so I can't do a watch along for the Arsenal game against Burnley on Saturday, and I actually can't do one tomorrow night. But that's different because I'm actually busy. I'm working, not working, but I'm out. So yeah, and that means that I would love to do a watch along for all Arsenal games if I could, but I can't. It's 2-on-1 here. There's like 12 minutes left. Why are they 2-on-1? Brandt is going to play the ball through to Fulkrug. He's going to test him for pace. Brandt 2-0. That's surely game over. That was brilliant, brilliant football. I think Brandt has been the best player, marginally the best player for Dortmund tonight. He's been really, really good. Every time he's had the ball, he's produced something. And there, he takes it. He thinks, can I set up Fulkrug here? Why have Newcastle left Dortmund 2-on-1 at the back there with 12 minutes to go? It's just ridiculous, man. Absolutely ridiculous. Do not understand. Adeyemi has played really well as well. That's the other player I would have said would have been right there. To be fair, Adeyemi sets this up. He sees the run from Brandt and clips the ball over to him, and it's an instant 2-on-1, and he could play the ball across. It's actually not Fulkrug, it's Sabitzer who's supporting him there. And what a ball from Adeyemi. Great finish with his left foot for Brandt. Does that seal Dortmund's place in the Champions League last 16? We'll have to wait and see. I think they are a good team. I don't think they're not capable of winning the Champions League, but I think they'll cause a lot of problems for a lot of teams. Yeah, very, very good. And I do feel like this is a bit of a response to what happened on Saturday against Dortmund, against Bayern Munich as well for them. It's amazing how football goes in cycles. Newcastle win at the weekend, lose tonight. Dortmund lose at the weekend, win tonight. And it often happens like that. Marco Reus has come on. Felt so sorry for him last season when Dortmund lost the league title to Bayern Munich on the final day by essentially bottling a lead at the end of the season. But anyway, yeah, so I was talking about what I'm doing going forward with these streams. Obviously, we've got the Tottenham game, and then I think it's Man City, Chelsea. Oh, Chelsea against Man City on the Sunday afternoon. It's a deep ball in from Newcastle, but should be straightforward. Again, Brandt wins an aerial duel. Brandt could be in again here. This is nice. Can he get the ball to him? Or he just goes himself? He's going to go himself. That's safe for Nick Pope. There's ticker tapes everywhere now. It's an absolute nightmare. If you're watching this game, you'll see there's like ticker tape everywhere on the pitch. Which I've heard, I've seen it in FIFA before, but I've never seen it in real. Well, that's not true. I've seen it once, but that was when Man City were they had the final game of the season to win the league back in 2012. Ooh, that was an interesting challenge. Newcastle could have had a penalty there. I think Longstaff is a bit desperate, but it isn't. Lewis Miley's on for Willock. I think Newcastle may be giving up the game if that's the kind of sub they're making now. $10 to go. Yeah. They're very, very desperate times for Newcastle now. They need 2 goals And I was saying earlier, they actually probably need to win this game. Forget draw it. They need to win this game. Because if they drew the game, they would be on 5 points level with Dortmund also on 5 points. But they've got PSG away next. And the head-to-head record between them and Dortmund is so bad that if they lose to PSG and Dortmund, the table's being shown on TV at the moment. And if Dortmund were to win and PSG were to beat Newcastle, then Newcastle will be out. So they're in trouble, Newcastle. They're now on 4 points. Milan are yet to play. So I think, in terms of Champions League, the one result they don't want from later is PSG to win. Because if PSG win, they'll go 5 points clear of Newcastle. And it means that Newcastle will have to win their next game against PSG and get at least a point against Milan. And that's assuming that PSG lose against Dortmund in the final game, which I don't think will happen. I think PSG will win that game. So, yeah, I think not PSG lose against Dortmund, sorry, the other way around. Dortmund lose against PSG, which I do think will happen, but I think expecting Dortmund to, at this point, expecting Dortmund to drop any points against Milan seems a bit unlikely. This Dortmund team look very, very, very good. They're very organised. Admittedly, I think Newcastle tonight have made them look good as well. It's got to be said. The way that they've approached this game, and they've made it difficult for themselves with their approach in the first half. And this is the kind of thing that Arsenal really should have done in the first half. They just didn't have the creative ability on the pitch to be able to force this kind of scenario. Yeah. And also, I think the way the referee has prevented Newcastle from being able to be overly physical with this Dortmund team. I just don't think they're allowed to do it. And in the Champions League, you'll find, and Newcastle will find this over time, that they won't the referee just fall over. Oh dear. Oh, Dortmund could be in again here. Brandt, he's roasting Lascelles. Is he going to beat him? Oh, he's going to play the ball across. That's a terrible ball, that. Terrible ball has not quite reached the winger on the other side. But yeah, they just need... they've set up the game in such a way that if they didn't get the first goal, it was going to be really, really difficult. I think if they'd have gone attacking right from the start, I think this game would have been a lot easier. Is there someone injured? Fulkrug's down. On his knees, though, to be fair. But, The first goal from Fulkrug was a really good finish as well. Left foot, first time. Really good. He's a really kind of like old-fashioned striker. You kind of think like Gary Lineker, that kind of player. Trying to think who else. Emil Heskey, if you're old enough to remember who Emil Heskey was. He's that kind of player. Very good for a Dortmund team like this, and they're not absolutely... Here's Mo Kuku's on. Okay, good. I think he's a good player. There's a lot of, as usual, if you've watched Dortmund over the years, they always have good young talent. I think the problem for them has always been, can they translate that into winning trophies and keep that young talent to a point where they start to be a dominant force in Europe. And that's only really ever happened once, at least in my generation. They did, I think, going back before my generation, there was times when they were doing really well in Europe, and I think they got to Champions League semi-finals before. But they got to the Champions League final in 2000 and... I want to say 2013, when they lost to Bayern. Quite unlucky to lose that game as well. They were quite good. That team was very, very good. That was a better team than this. I think a lot of German football right now is in the mud a bit, I think. And apart from Bayern Munich, you couldn't name another team who you think will ever win the Champions League this season. No chance. I think Bayern Munich, Real Madrid, for obvious reasons, their experience in the competition is ridiculous. Man City, and then you've got all the English teams. I don't think there's anyone else. Yeah, I don't think there's anyone else who can. I'm looking forward to watching the game tonight. A game tonight. Probably we might watch Atletico. They look pretty good, to be fair, this season. But in Europe, I've not been convinced by them. They're going to try and... Oh, they're just going to play through the lines. That's nice. Slow it down. Royce with the bleach blonde hair, which is an interesting choice. Mokuko could be in here. Lascelles falls over. Almost fouls Mokuko. That's dangerous. Would have given away a penalty there. Nice little touch, but again, Dortmund just playing this out. They're doing really well. Yeah, there's not that many teams, I think, that can actually win the Champions League this year. Arsenal, Man City, Real Madrid, Bayern Munich. And I think I'm putting Arsenal in there more in hope than expectation. As an Arsenal fan, I feel like I remember saying actually last season when we were going to probably qualify for the Champions League, I was saying, okay, Arsenal will probably be one of the favourites because English teams, all the English teams are automatically favourites for the Champions League just because of the level that they're at compared to the rest of Europe. The amount of money they've got and the investment they've made in their teams. The problem is we've also got a Newcastle team here who are almost going out. They're clearly not favourites for the Champions League at all, nowhere near. But their European experience recently has been nothing. The last time they were in Europe was about 10 years ago. That's a ball over the top for Almiron, but that's not going anywhere. It's going to be a throw for Dortmund. And then Man United, who are just, after having a fairly promising season last year, yes, they've been ravaged by injuries, but they are shocking as well. Like they're not suited for European football, and it'll be interesting to see what happens tomorrow, because their team right now, I think, is on the edge of kind of collapsing a little bit. And the win that they got at the weekend was massive. Yeah, it is a completely different scene for Newcastle. I think they will be a Champions League force in about 5 to 10 years' time. I think 5 years' time, definitely. It didn't take. Oh, that was a chance. Livramento with a clever, cheeky little chip. He's on the edge. He's on the far edge of the penalty area, just on the inside of it. Sees the goalkeeper slightly off his line and tries to chip him, and the goalkeeper just pats it over the bar. But he looked nervous initially when the ball was going in. Goodness me. But yeah, I don't think Newcastle are at that point yet. They might struggle to qualify for the Champions League this season. And I think it'll be harder to win the Champions League next year. Mokuko, he's got a long way to go here. He's just gone past the halfway line and, yeah, well played. Tell you what, Livramento has, when he's been put in his correct position, which is right back, he started the game at right wing. I don't know why, because it was almost like Newcastle were defending against a threat that just wasn't there. And because the way that Brandt plays, he plays on the left, but he doesn't stay on the left. He comes inside all the time. So Livramento playing as a full-on right winger, if you're using him as a defensive outlet, I didn't see him tracking him back at all. So why? I don't know why they made that decision. But he's played well since he's played a right back. Yes, they're losing, but I think Livramento has been probably one of their best players. And he played very well against Arsenal at the weekend as well. Newcastle still got to be careful here. Just popping it around their back line. I think happy to take the loss now. Absolutely happy to take the loss. Newcastle, they've got a minute left of injury time. And then that'll be it. Pretty shocking for Newcastle. I think this, after the highs of Saturday, tonight is a bit of a reality check for this team. To be honest, I've never been particularly convinced by Newcastle this season. They look a lot more dogged, but a bit less creative than they were last season. Here's Trippier overlapping, and a chance. Oh, it's a good block again from Longstaff's shot, or Almiron's shot, sorry. Really good. It's a really good volley, that, to be fair. Controls it really well. Is that it? Full time? Yes, it is. 2-0 to Dortmund. In the end, comfortable, I'd say. Absolutely comfortable. And European pedigree is shown by Dortmund, to be fair, in this game. Newcastle, not good enough. The wrong approach from the start. Absolutely the wrong approach. Didn't attack the game. They started the game defensively, played with essentially a 4-5-1, and now Newcastle are in a position where if they don't beat PSG away from home next week, and if PSG win today, they're potentially out of the Champions League in the group stages, which isn't really, I don't think, what Newcastle would have wanted. Having said that, I want everyone to cast their minds back to when the Champions League draw happened, and they were drawn with PSG, Dortmund, and Milan. All three of which have been pretty impressive. I think PSG and Milan have... Wait. I can't remember if Milan actually won their league recently. I think they have, or at least gone pretty close. Milan have made the Champions League semi-finals recently. PSG have made the Champions League final recently. And Dortmund have also done pretty well in the Champions League, although not quite gotten that far. Great European pedigree in those three teams. And Newcastle was said to have been basically cannon fodder for the rest of them, and they'll end up with no points and bottom of the table. They're not that bad, but I think tonight kind of shows a little bit how this Newcastle team have approached this league, and I just don't think it's going to be good enough. Next season might be a different story if they qualify. The Newcastle players applauding the fans. Obviously, I think if you look at back, the expectation shouldn't be that they qualify. I think that's what I'm saying, really. They shouldn't be expected to qualify from this group. But the fact that they've not approached this with an attacking intent is disappointing for me, I think. That's really disappointing. But let's see what happens. They've got 2 games left. If they win against PSG away from home, which would be an amazing result, anything could happen then at home against Milan. They could, but they need a result now. We're at the kind of stage that Arsenal. I remember Arsenal being in this kind of position. Shakhtar are beating Barcelona, by the way, which is a bit of a shock. Got to say, a little bit of a shock, but there you go. What was I saying? So Newcastle. Yeah, Newcastle wouldn't have expected to qualify from this group, but after the start they had, I think people's hopes got up. Now we're starting to see a bit of a reality check, and I think that's what I was saying. So Arsenal were in this kind of situation not too long ago. That's quite a long time ago, to be fair, almost 20 years ago, where they'd lost their opening 3 games or something, and then they won. Are they claiming that to be? Oh no, they're not. Okay, right. I thought they were trying to claim that to be handball against Adeyemi for the 2nd goal. But yeah, they've not. They needed to win their last 3 games, and they did. And the 2nd game was the pivotal one because they won away at Milan 5-1, and Inter Milan 5-1. So I think it's worth mentioning that this is the Champions League. It is only a 4-team group, and it can change quickly. It can do. I'm not saying it will, but it can do. So we'll have to wait and see what happens with that. And obviously we're comparing very, very different teams here because that Arsenal team were very attacking and they wanted to attack all the time. Newcastle don't want to do that at all. They want to keep it steady at the back and then hit on the counter. So, interesting game. Don't think I'm going to get to watch the game next week. Or in the weeks. It's not even next week. It'll be in a couple, 2 or 3 weeks' time. But a massive, massive win for Dortmund, that. My next stream, I'm going to be back on Saturday afternoon for the 12:30 kickoff between Wolves and Tottenham. I won't have time to do anything else that day, unfortunately, but I will be there again on Sunday for the Chelsea-Man City game, which is another big one at the end of the last weekend before the final international break of the year. Thank you very much for watching, everyone. It's been a pleasure watching this Champions League game with you, and I will see you guys on Saturday. For now, though, have a good week. I will see you later when I have turned off the stream.